Welcome, everyone. We are about 4 days away from the completion of registration for Free to SOAR. And today I have another amazing guest joining me. She is the person who's going to lead the discussion during week three. Week two, week two, which is the week about shedding season. Eagles at 40 years of age fly away. They shed their feathers, they pluck their beaks, and they restore themselves so that they can fly even higher. When we're talking about shedding things from our lives, we are going to be talking about things that we have to remove from a relationship standpoint, from a thing standpoint, from a time standpoint, things that are robbing our time but are not creating productivity in our lives, and how removing these things or organizing them differently is going to help us to be able to soar in 2024. So I am very excited to have the person who's going to be kind of our subject matter expert for being able to organize our lives and organize our minds so that we can soar. Her name is Dana L'Oreal Morales. She is the owner of the Happiness Bucket, which is a consultancy that assists solopreneurs and side hustlers in the areas of business, personal and home organization, and system development. Along with running her business, she also works full-time for a global corporate law firm as a senior business process manager, where she manages a team of business analysts who help to analyze and design process improvement opportunities. So processes apparently are her thing. Dana has used and honed these skills during her 25 years, plus years actually, in the corporate and legal industry. She looks forward to helping people with organization and systems development needs. And Dana, welcome to the stage. How are you?
I am well. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you so much for joining me. I am excited to have you here and also joining us for Free to Soar, which I hope is going to be an amazing program. I actually was on a call this morning with a Facebook Live with a friend of mine who does a morning show. And I had a lady who was so inspired by what we're going to talk about. She said she's enrolling tomorrow because she wants to lock in on the things that she needs to do for next year. So they're coming. Hopefully a whole bunch more will come. And after we talk today, hopefully we'll inspire people to really know why they need to be thinking about decluttering their lives so that they can soar next year. So before we get into that part, Dana, share with me a little bit about, I told the audience about your background. Why the Happiness Bucket? Why that name?
So the Happiness Bucket is a whole big old thing with the Happiness Bucket. So back 20, 30 years ago, I was sitting with a group of young ladies, and they all had their own little issues and things that they were dealing with at the time. And me being the senior of the group, they were coming to me for advice. And so as we began to talk about what was going on, I realized like their focus was on the wrong thing. You know, there were relationship issues, there were parent issues. And I'm like, let's talk about what is truly going to make you happy as an individual. What is it that you want? They were so focused on the other thing, the other people, the other issue, the issue that they were dealing with, instead of looking at what is truly going to make you happy. And let's build from there. And so as we began to look at that, we really started looking at, you have the power to decide what happens with your life. Stop letting the outside things impact you. And so it basically is saying, fill yourself with happiness, fill yourself with those things that really build you as an individual. And you're going to fill yourself so much that you're going to overflow.
Yes.
And you're going to flow that happiness out into your surroundings, your family, your friends. Everybody else is going to get the benefit of that because you are focused in on the things that make you happy and the things that you need to be doing. So that's how the Happiness Bucket came about is because one of the participants, one of the individuals came and said, it's, basically, long story short, they came up with a piece of that name. And so then I just kind of ran with it as the happiness bucket.
I love that. And I don't know if you're familiar with Lisa Nichols. Are you familiar with her?
Yes.
Okay. So she says that we have to learn how to love from our overflow.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way that we can do that is to fill ourselves up with everything that we need. So that's the exact thing that it sounds like you're doing with the happiness bucket, is to help people to know to fill yourself to overflow. So then people are getting your saucer and not your cup. Yes.
Exactly. Because people don't realize how much, because they're focused on those other things. If you just hyper focus in on that one goal that you have, and then begin to work that plan, right? Because I'm all about, you set the goal, but you got to work the plan beneath the goal. You can't just stop at the idea. And so as you begin to work that plan, that then leads you to the next. I mean, and I use myself as an example with all of my clients because I have gone through the journey myself. I've gone through the whole financial piece side of the house and saying, hey, I want to get out of debt. Did that. Okay, I want to buy my own house at a young age. Did that. I want to go natural. Did that. So all these things were a part of my happiness bucket journey, which led me. I mean, I even say, that's how I met my husband. I wasn't looking for him. In fact, I was like, no, I'm on my journey. I'm trying to live my best life.
Right.
Decided I wanted to take up salsa dancing. Went to salsa dancing class because it was going to help me lose weight. It was fun, helped me lose weight. Well, I lost weight and met my husband.
Isn't it something?
And so it has continued since then. And that's what I tell people. When you put that focus in and let go of those things that you don't need.
Right.
And that helping you reach those goals, it's going to make a big difference in your life.
Yeah, I love that you said that last piece too about your husband, because I was listening to David Mann. He said he was talking to some women about, like, what do you want in a husband? Like, write everything down that you want. Mm-hmm. And then after they did that, that whole list, he said, now you become that. Because when you become that, you will attract that. And so that's exactly what you did. You became the person who you knew was your best self, or in the becoming of your best self, you met your life mate.
It's funny because I take clients through an exercise that's similar to that. And just like, tell me, if you had all the money in the world, if you took out all the barriers, what are the things that are truly going to make you happy and are truly going to just bring you where you want to be? And they get the full list. And I'm like, now eliminate the things that you can't control. You can't control getting married. Nope. That was something on my list. I can't make somebody love me. I can't make somebody marry me, but I can prepare myself for that. Right. Yes, I can say, okay, I'm not the best cook. Let me go learn how to cook. Okay. I want to make sure that I'm financially stable. Let me go get finance. So all of those things lead to that goal list that's going to help you reach wherever it is that you're trying to reach.
Yes, that's true. That's very good. And so in thinking about where we're headed with this decluttering and shedding season, what are some areas that you personally have thought about? You know what? I'm either spending too much time, resources, energy in the wrong space. What has that been for you?
Oh, I'm going to tell you, because I am actually on the back end of that. Last year, I really first of all, just to lay the foundation here, I'm a side hustler. So I have a full-time active job for a corporate law firm. So my day is, booked. Right. But I also have a side hustle. Okay. Right. And so I had to really look at, number one, with my business runs itself. Right. I'm not looking paycheck to paycheck to try to make my business run. And I did that strategically. So I wanted to look at my expenditures and say, okay, what am I spending my money on? What is making me money in my business? And what am I spending my money on that I really don't need to spend my money on right now? And let's make it as lean as possible so that I am not dependent on having finances to pay these bills. They're just paid. I just know that going into the year. And so any money that I make throughout the year is just bank, right? I don't have to worry about it. And so I really set out on a goal this past year is to find tools for my environment that allowed me, the whole world is going to, the SaaS model of do a subscription to your software and you pay every month and you pay annually for 12 months of service. Well, I wanted to go back old school and I wanted to say, where are some tools that I can purchase that I just pay one time and I get it? And so I replaced a lot of those SaaS model products with those tools because they serviced me in exactly the same way and sometimes better. And that allowed me to cut that expense. So I no longer have that expense for my, scheduling tool. I no longer have the expense over here. So that helped me put more money in my pocket in the end by just making that small change of decluttering those tools that no longer were needed in my environment. So that's just something that I know I've recently been doing. And it was a long process. It wasn't just an overnight, I'm going to switch tools, right? Because when you switch a tool, you have to really evaluate the data that's in that tool, moving it to something else, and figuring out what needs to come. And then when you're bringing it over in a strategic way. So there was a whole process around that. I don't want to oversimplify it. But I also don't want to scare people away from it because sometimes those shifts are really good for you because it forces you to really look at what are the processes that I've created. Right. If I've had this thing, because this is business, personal, home, it doesn't matter where you're doing this process. Whenever you are looking at having something for years, right? I deal with this with individuals who own their homes. They've had, this one closet. They've always put the right certain things in that closet for years. Well, they think it's organized. They never go into it because they organized it once and they're like, no, it's fine.
That's that,
but
right.
When you start to go in there and pull that stuff out, because I say you always have to empty that space. And when you pull that stuff out or you start to evaluate the stuff that's in your tool or whatever, you start to realize, like, I haven't used this in years. Why am I holding on to it? It is taking up visual and mental space that could be utilized for something else. And so that's, I love.
When we hold on, we can't even free ourselves to get what we want. I had a moment. I had a speaker when I recently moved. Also, I had a speaker. It was a nice branded speaker, but I had not literally the whole time I was at my previous place used that speaker. So I had put it on the market. It was out there for a couple of months, but finally somebody said they wanted to buy it. Do you know I had a moment internally with letting that go, and I'm like, Dawn, you haven't even used that. Like, what?
And we deal with that all the time, Dawn.
I believe it. Like, what is the emotional tie I have to that thing that was just really, it was just taking up space. I had not used it.
And a lot of times it's how much I spent on it or who gave it to me, or, like you just feel guilty about, but that's a nice thing. Like it's a status symbol, right? But it's like, why do you use, like, it is taking up physical and mental space. You could get that money in your pocket.
Exactly. That's right.
People, I'm like, if it's something that you really feel is worth some, money, and you're really struggling, put it on the market. See if somebody's going to purchase it, and at least take that money and do something else with it.
Exactly.
Instead of letting it sit and take up quality space.
That's right. Take up space. Exactly. Just because I could say, okay, I have this speaker, but I'm not even using it. Haven't even. So yes, I totally appreciate that. And then there was something else that you had said about this whole SaaS, the subscription piece. And so I'm a big proponent. And I think, again, being in business is just gotten me to thinking, hey, if I can pay for my website one time for the year, I don't want to see this every month. If whatever it is that I can get done, I don't need you trickling in. But we think, hey, it's convenient. They're just, but no, it's not. And you pay more, actually.
Yes.
When you end up doing it that way. Yes.
And on top of that, what I coach on is you need to look at a tool and verify that you can pay for it for a year, 6 months to a year. If you cannot afford a tool that you want to use ahead of time, 6 to 12 months, you don't need it yet. Like you're not ready,
That's
right?
good.
You're not at that level yet. So you don't
Yep.
need to be looking at that tool. And I know
Yes.
that's a hard rule for some people to face because like, but I want my business to grow. I need this. You don't, because
No.
there are so many businesses that are working with tools that are either free or cost less money and are doing a ton of business
Just
because
fine.
it's not about that tool, it's about your process.
Right.
And
That's right.
look, I'm about to get on a soapbox because you don't pick tools to define your process. Okay.
Nope.
And that is a huge thing that I see
I
people
love
do.
that. Say that again for the people
Don't
in the
pick a
back.
tool. You don't pick a tool to define your process.
That's right.
You define your process first and then find a tool that either can meet that process or can help to automate that process in some way.
That's right.
A tool
That's
is a
right.
tool is a tool. There people come out with tools left and right.
Yes.
But if the tool is not helping you to, if that tool went away tomorrow, because with SaaS, that is a possibility. That
Right.
tool goes away tomorrow. Can you run that process manually?
Yes.
And so
that's
many
right.
people during the pandemic faced this because they had no true process built or defined.
Exactly.
They were basing it off of a tool. And when they couldn't afford that tool anymore and they had to cancel that subscription or stop using it because they couldn't afford it, now it's what do we do?
That's right.
And so we're having to shut our business, whether that be for a couple of weeks or more, because we now have to define this full process that I have to do manually.
Yep, that's true. That's true. Oh, that takes that away. Yep, that's so true. And to your point about the process piece, let me tell you, these folks with the which they're okay for those people who need them, but the CRMs, right? The customer resource manager.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the buzzword. I started in my business and you got to have a CRM and so I got one. Can't even HubSpot or something. That thing was so clunky. I was like, so you know what I use? I don't have my big one right now. But when I still use Excel. And then when I'm calling customer, I use a notepad and I have it separated into 5 areas: research, meeting notes, opportunity. And I can't remember my 4th one right now. So, but that became easier for me because when I'm clicking here, and here, and there may be an easier one. But to your point about us not thinking that we have to necessarily have the latest tool in order to be effective, what we need to have is a process that works and that we can do consistently. That's the perfect example for me because for me, everybody, they love to say, I have a CRM and it's called.
I'm going to be real. I am team CRM, but
yes,
I am team CRM for that fits your business, right?
Okay.
And to your point, HubSpot, and there's tons of systems, so we're not going to pick on HubSpot.
Sure, right, exactly.
A ton of CRMs that are really created for the big corporate business. And if you're a small business, that's too much, right? There's too much for you to deal with. So one of the courses that I have actually walks people through, like if you're a small business and you're done and you got your spreadsheet and you're like, this works for me, it's automating that, right? Making it electronic so you can access that anywhere. And so that is really looking at the things that you can do in your business or in your life, because again, it's holistic. But things that you can do that can simplify and make it so that you can do whatever you need to do at any time. Because what I tell people, I know in my Instagram posts and everything, I usually say, are you team paper or are you a team electronic? Because there are people who still like paper, and I don't begrudge you. If you want your spiral notebook, live with the spiral notebook. But I say, for me, when we're talking about decluttering and simplification, I don't want to have to carry and make sure I have this notepad and this thing with me everywhere I go. Right. I have a tool, right? Yes. My phone that is always with me. So if I can access all of my stuff on my phone, in a pinch if I need to, or log
Sure.
into a computer and get to my stuff. That's
Right.
what, I'm like, that's what I'm looking to do. That's
Right.
not for everybody, but I want people to really think about what is it that I need on a day-to-day basis, and what is it that I'm doing, and how can I simplify that, right?
Right.
How can I make this more useful and save me time in
Yes.
the end.
In
So
the end.
that's what
Yes.
and that is exactly, it's so funny because we didn't talk about this, but like everything that you talked about are things that I work with clients on and
Yes.
have designed courses around just to meet that specific need. Because a lot of people that come to me, I'm like, either they can't afford the big $500 course, right?
Right.
Or they don't have a lot of time because they're side hustlers. And so I wanted bite-sized pieces of
Right.
information that can help you get from point A to point Z very quickly and succinctly,
Yes.
when it comes to organization and process. And so
Right.
like, that's why I said that the whole CRM thing, I'm like, here
Yeah.
you go.
You like, yeah. And you know what? HoneyBook might be, is HoneyBook a CRM? Because I do use HoneyBook.
HoneyBook is a conglomerate tool, meaning that it does a lot of different things. Now, what
Yes.
I say about systems like that is I honestly do not know what their specialty is. And that's why I like when you have a universal tool like that, I'm very hesitant. Now, I had one designed specifically for me, but the
Okay.
market system specific tools that are
Right.
designed, a lot of times they don't really specialize in any one piece of the tool set. And so
Right.
that's scary to me. Like, I need to know that you specialize in something. Is it contracts? Is it CRM? Is it task
Yeah.
management? And so some combination tools they started, and these are the ones I tend to lean towards. They start with a specialty. So maybe it's a project management tool, but based off of the needs of project management, they then add on modules, right, that
Right.
solve a different problem. And so
Okay.
their specialty is this, but then they solve this other problem, and the way they solve it is all unique. So those
Okay.
types of universal tools I'm a fan of. The one
Yes.
that's just like, here you go, I'm not, but that just may not be my area of expertise, right? So they
Right.
all systems, I won't say all, most systems have an audience, their target market. So it's funny, my calendaring tool, which is another pay once and you have it, it actually was marketed towards beauticians and
Oh,
salons. And so some of the features, I was like, well, why is somebody needing that? Like, this isn't doing
right.
exactly what I had envisioned using it for. But you know what? Let me see why they're saying to do it this way. And so when I
Sure.
saw the back, I was like, oh, you are focused on the beautician and the salon. So that's why they developed it the way they have. It
Okay.
works for me and the way
Right.
that I run my business, but it
Yes.
may not work for you because you may need some other features that they don't have, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
So
that's
that's
true.
why
What,
that
which one is
process is
that?
so
What's that
important.
called?
My because you asked me, I'm like, what is my tool called?
Because
Girl, wait a second, because I talk about it all the time. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you. That's sad. That
I get it. Trust me. I
it just
have those
does what it's
moments.
supposed to do. Thraft.
Trav? Oh,
TRAFFT.
okay, I have not heard of
And
that
it
one.
is
Okay,
actually, I'm gonna give y'all some game right now. Okay.
okay.
Because it's about to come around.
Okay.
Thraft is AppSumo. They usually run AppSumo deals. And the way that it works on AppSumo is you can buy, what is it called? Can't remember what it's called. But anyway, they're buckets of, so you can go like level 1, level 2, and you can keep adding levels. I
Okay.
purchased the level 2 because of the features that I wanted on Thraft, right? And
Okay.
so I paid
Mm-hmm.
for that one time and I have it. But
Okay.
I could level up. And in fact, when I first bought it, I think I bought level 1, and then they added a new feature, but it required another ticket, right? I
Okay.
had run
Okay.
out of the, you got tickets for the features that you purchase, and when you got level 1, I want to say you got 10 features, right?
Okay.
And so
Mm-hmm.
they added some additional features. I was like, oh, I want those features. And so to
Right.
get those features, I had to level up and to get the I think I'm on unlimited features now or something like that.
Okay.
So you
Uh-huh.
just pay an additional for that for another package on top,
Sure.
but you have it for the life. So until I
Okay.
run out of tickets, I don't need to purchase another level. Does that make sense?
Yes,
And I
it
think
does.
the level I'm
Exactly.
on now, I don't have to purchase anymore because I'm not a like a business that works for other businesses.
That needs, okay, got you.
Mhm.
Got you. Okay, that sounds good. Let me ask you something. So you've told us that you have a side hustle, you have a main gig, and all of it's about processing, making your life better. So how do you keep it all together? What is your kind of and don't give it all away because we're going to share some more things during the
Right.
program.
How am I going? I can't get it all. Right.
Yeah. How do you keep it together though?
I'm trying to think of a way to say this without giving it all away.
Right.
Um, I basically set rules for myself
Okay.
and I map out my calendar in a
Mhm.
way that allows me to know how much time I have for certain buckets of my life, right? So
Mhm.
every part
Mhm.
of my life has a specific bucket of
Mhm.
hours,
Mhm.
and I know when those hours are getting depleted, and I
Mhm.
know when one section of my life needs more hours than another, and I try
Mhm.
to make some shifts there. Now
Mhm.
I'm I I'm lucky in the sense that my job, I am salary, so I
Okay.
can shift my hours on my full-time job to a certain extent, right?
Sure.
And you know,
Right.
I can kind
Right.
of shift those around as I need to, depending on what I have going on. But
Right.
I try to keep to the same buckets of
Right.
hours throughout,
Mhm.
and build my life around that. When my calendar's booked, people don't know what is booking it, right? My
Sure.
calendar is my calendar.
Right.
And
Mhm.
so what I took, my threat, when you go to my account booking calendar, you see when I'm available to take on new clients. I
Right.
could be booked with other clients. I could be booked with full-time work. I could be booked with family life. I
Right.
could be self-caring. You
Right.
don't know, but the point is that I'm not available, or I am available on these times at these days. Um,
Exactly.
so
Right.
I really adhere to that. And occasionally I may have a client that has an emergency and they need to get in, and I try to adjust for that. But the main rule is, here's my availability.
Right. Okay.
If you want to get the time, you got to book early, right? To
Okay.
get
Right.
the
Mhm.
optimal time.
Yes. No, that's good. And we are going to talk more about that. I even teach, when I teach time management, I teach about this chunking technique. And part of what you're saying is the chunking technique where, and I even
Mhm.
tell people, don't bump one time up against another. You have to build in, as I was telling my son's fiance, white space in your life, because if you
Yes.
don't, you will stress yourself unnecessarily. And
And
so,
you can
yeah,
tell when those times are needed, right? But if you're
right.
always late to everything, if you're already always rushing when it's
Yep.
time to do something, or
Yep.
if I had been on this call, coming on the call huffing and puffing because I waited till 5 o'clock, like that would drive me nuts. But if that's
Exactly.
what you're seeing is happening in your life, these what we call red flags are happening, then that's
Yes,
a sign that you have a time management issue.
that's
And
right.
talking about being free, sometimes time management is not, they say, well, it wasn't me. Well, you're
Right.
allowing it in your life, so it is you,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
Sometimes
Yep.
you have to pull back and you have to address the elephant in the room. You have to, and it's not going to make everybody happy, but who's more important right now, yourself and your peace and your job and your business, or somebody's opinion, right? And
Ooh,
that's a hard truth to face.
it's a hard truth to face, but it's one of the most important truths we
It
can face
is.
if we are going to live in a happiness bucket.
It
Believe that.
is. It is. It is. So I'm
Ultimately,
not gonna share them
yes,
all.
we're not gonna talk anymore. Exactly. Before, in fact, we're already at 29 minutes, so this is so fast, so fast. What I do want you to share, though, just overall, we're talking about kind of it's shedding season. That's your topic. So just share, just generally, some other things that you hope to inspire or motivate people with when we meet. I believe it's the first week in December for the shedding season week.
I really want people to leave with a plan. That's my goal. Because I think we have 30 minutes for our session. So I
Yes.
really want to teach people how to make a plan for what it is that they want to achieve in their life, and how to look at using
Uh-oh. Dang it, you God. Oh, here she is.
it didn't like us.
It didn't. I said, I'm just going to wait. We're okay. I'm still recording, and then I can just splice it together. So we'll be okay. Yeah.
Okay, so answer that question again, because I got to get back on.
Yes. So when we meet on December the 3rd, I think it's December the 3rd. It's the first week in December. What do you hope to share with the people? Just generally, again, we don't want to give it all away because we do want you to register worldclasstraining.net/SOAR.
Yes.
But just let us know what you hope to inspire people with, motivate them with around the things that they need to shed so that they can live their best lives in 2024.
Right. So I know our session is about 30 minutes
Yes.
during the event. And so I would love to get people to develop their plan of action, to really think through what it is that they want to achieve, to start breaking those things down so that they can leave that session with a true plan that they can go and put into action when they leave.
Yes.
Because in the end, that's what it's all about. I can talk till I'm blue in the face about things you should do, but if you don't have a plan to handle it, what are you going to really achieve it or not? And most people don't.
They do not. They absolutely do not. And you're so right. And I'm glad that you said that they are going to leave with a plan, because everybody should know that each week we are taking real action steps. This is not going to be a training where you are going to sit and be listening to a download of information. I'm an interactive trainer. That's the thing that I do. And everybody who's coming as subject matter experts are bringing real information that is a part of their level of expertise. So I love that you're going to help them with the plan, because you do have to have a plan. You can say, hey, you know what, I'm going to be more organized, or I'm going to do things differently next year so that I can have, more time in my life. But if you don't make time for that, and I didn't ask you this question, but I want you to save it for when we meet. Do you even have to schedule time for love?
Yeah. Now I don't put it on my calendar,
right,
but I have a mental, I know when we haven't really been connecting, or when I've been really booked over here, because a lot of times I get done and I'm tired, and I'll go to the bedroom and he's in the living room, and we go to our corners, and we're happy go lucky. But then there's times I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do this today. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to spend some quality time with him in the living room, or
that's right.
We're going to go out to eat, or whatever that thing is, right? But you have to, and it's not necessarily you need to schedule it, right? But you need to be cognizant about it and say, what are those buckets of time that I want to dedicate to this? In each week. And so that may be, I want to spend at least 3 hours with my husband each week. That's just us, right? Without our daughter. Or without other things being a part of that. And so I think that's important that you keep that in mind.
It absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you too. And again, we'll probably tap on it a little bit more, because that's an important piece. I was sharing with my son's fiance. I said, you have to understand that, and him, both of them, as you all are entering into this marriage space, it's important that you're intentional about the time that you spend connecting with each other. Just like you're intentional about when they call you and they say, hey, I need you to come into work, or this person says, hey, he plays violin, I need you to come to this gig. You're like, I'm jumping at that. You got to jump at this too, because at the end of the day, y'all are gonna be the ones sitting, and they're gonna be off somewhere. So
if it's
you want to
important
not.
to you, most people put it on their calendar. The things that
Yes,
are important to you, you schedule it. So
that's
if
right.
you know, I don't have to schedule that part of my life, but if
Right.
you have to, in order to make sure it gets done, then do it. You know,
Then
you
do
don't
it.
have to put
Exactly.
on the, if someone else can see your calendar, you don't have to put that on you don't have to put,
Right.
you know, loving with my
Spending
spouse,
time with
you know,
right.
right.
Exactly. Right.
But you can put on their personal time. You can
That's
put,
right.
don't block, you know, don't book or something so that you know that this is a non-negotiable. And so
Yes.
you're going to get off work earlier. You're going to make sure that you don't have any other distractions and you can put your attention on whatever it needs to be on.
Yes, and that is absolutely right. Yeah. So I'm excited to talk about that and the other things that we're going to discuss when we meet in a couple of weeks. I'm going to let you go. I just want to see if I can just share the calendar right quickly while you're here. Okay. So week 1, we are locking in. That is when we are going to position ourselves and actually write our vision statements. We will have not a whole vision board done, but we will know what we want the end of next year to look
Oh,
like
that's
at the end of week
fabulous.
1. Yes, because we have to start with that. Where are we heading, right? Then
So
week 2 is
I can build off of that
okay,
with
perfect.
our session, and so that you're now taking that and getting deeper.
Oh, perfect. Because we'll make sure then that they bring that back. And then, yes, we will talk about it's shedding season. So what do you have to get rid of? What kinds of things do you have to organize differently so that you can get there? Week 3, what will it cost you? That's when Bill Brabaugh is coming in from Vision to Reality to talk about our kind of financial picture, but and also what's it going to cost us in terms of resources and sacrificial time in order to get what we want. And then the Storm Survival Kit is going to be the 4th week, and then we'll have a release on December the 30th. So again, if you have not registered, make sure that you do that at worldclasstraining.net/SOAR. Registration is open until Sunday, November the 19th. So thank you so much for joining me today, Dana. I'm excited for yes, yeah. I'm sure this is going to be an amazing time that we'll have to help people to start the year. I decided to do this because I said, I don't want people to wait until January to start trying to figure it out. We need to figure it out right now so that we can start the year running.
So most definitely.
Yes. So, thank you so much again for being here. I appreciate you. Everyone, again, please make sure that you go and register for Free to Soar at worldclasstraining.net. And I'm just going to send you in the background, but don't leave, okay? Because I'll wrap up and then I'll be back to you. Okay. So yes, everybody, please make sure to go and register at worldclasstraining.net. I will show the banner one more time. These are some amazing speakers, as you can see, amazing presenters. So we want to shift our lives and go to another level next year. And we're going to help you all to do that. Again, one more time, it is lock in, it's shedding season. What will it cost you? And then the Storm Survival Kit. So again, worldclasstraining.net/SOAR. Until next time, everyone, thank you so much for joining. And remember, when you are better, we are absolutely better. Take care.